see, often from most of the higher vantage points, you will see the water of the Sea of Galilee in the background. Here's a little closer view there of that area in which we know that Jesus shared this famous passage. The exact location? No. Close? Yes. It's the words that Jesus shares that are important. Not finding the location, but knowing Him through that. Chapter 5, the first verse says, "And seeing the multitudes, He went up into a mountain, and when He was set, His disciples came unto Him. And He opened His mouth and taught them, saying, Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are they that mourn, for they shall be comforted. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. Blessed are they which do hunger and thirst after righteousness, for they shall be filled. Blessed are the merciful, for they shall obtain mercy. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of God. Blessed are they which are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are ye when men shall revile you and persecute you, and shall say all manner of evil against you falsely for my sake." Jesus has a great crowd around Him. If you remember probably Sunday school lessons from when you were younger, if you remember those lessons from the time you were children, I remember lessons like this when my Sunday school teacher would put on the felt board scenes like this that had been printed out, scenes of great landscape, and I could visualize everyone seated around Jesus. They're there listening intently because those words are changing their lives. Maybe it's because we take too many times these scriptures that we study, we have such easy access to them. We could flip anytime to Matthew chapter 5. We can look it up. We could see it at any time. We know the translations. We have easy access to all kinds of biblical scholars to help us understand what those words mean. Sometimes I think this easy access takes away from the importance. Here, when people are seated around Jesus, when they know that Jesus is so much different than anyone they've seen before, Jesus is so much different than any prophet they've ever heard or the generations before heard. Jesus heals. Jesus shares. There's so much more about Jesus. They're listening intently. They're listening not just for this one moment when they hear Jesus speak, but they're listening so they can recall those words for the rest of their lives. Oftentimes when I was younger, when I would sit in church, my mind would drift away. The importance of the words that were shared didn't diminish. It was my attention span that had diminished. The words are so important. Of Matthew chapter 5. The words of Jesus are life-changing. It's so important for us to study and understand and apply the words. If we were seated here next to Jesus and we heard those words as He spoke them in Aramaic, they would certainly change our hearts forever. And they did. The great crowds followed Jesus because they knew they had heard wisdom. They knew they'd heard the truth. that they never heard before. Matthew chapter 5, chapter 6, chapter 7. That's where you'll find the words of Jesus teaching us the practicalities of the Christian life. We should study them. We should review them. We should look at them often. Also, we'll find Luke in chapter 6 referring to those same blessednesses. I guess that's not a word, is it? Those same blessings that are shared in Matthew, we find in Luke, following the scriptures I'm going to share tonight. Luke chapter 6, verse 12, it says, "And it came to pass in those days that he went out into a mountain to pray, and continued all night in prayer to God. And when it was day, he called unto him his disciples. And of them he chose 12, whom also he named apostles." These disciples, these closest 12 that Jesus is teaching, that are disciples following him, will become the apostles, telling Jesus' message, telling the message that changes the world when they know Jesus Christ. Verse 14, "Simon, whom he also called Peter, and Andrew his brother, James and John, Philip and Bartholomew, Matthew and Thomas, James the son of Alphaeus, and Simon." I don't have it up here because I didn't get the right slide in there, but I'll read it from the NIV. Verse 17 of chapter 6 here in Luke, it says, "He went down with them and stood on a level place. A large crowd of his disciples was there, and a great number of people from all over Judea, from Jerusalem, and from the coastal region around Tyre and Sidon, who had come to hear him and to be healed of their diseases. Those troubled